The fight to save a maunga tapu in South Waikato.
We're saying no. We don't want any more destruction of our maunga or our water anymore.
A spiritual and environmental landmark.
This is part of our natural heritage, and, you know, once it's quarried, that's the end of it.
And mana whenua want the quarrying stopped.
It makes me want to go and stand on that maunga and say no.
Weraiti is a prominent maunga in the Kaimai Ranges. It's an ancient burial site. The waters are a source of life force and a symbol of identity and spirituality to Ngāti Hinerangi. This is Kaumātua Casey Douglas of Tangata Marae, which is at the foot of Weraiti. He says this place is special to Ngāti Hinerangi.
It gives us mana whenua having our koiwi up there. It's very significant.
Their ancestors' remains, or koiwi, are buried in caves at the top of the maunga. Ngāti Hinerangi consider the mountain their tupuna.
It's a special tohu, our maunga, and to see the damage that's been done to it is really hurtful. It's damaging to our hapu, to our iwi, to see our tupuna like that. And if you opened up his stomach, then you'd see all his insides, and that's what our tupuna looks like.
Te Weraiti holds koiwi or bones of our ancestors.
This video, posted on social media, shows how the damage could be about to spread if a quarry company is granted the right to expand.
The quarry intend to blast and dig out the maunga from here all the way down, wiping out all those trees there, quarrying the Mangapiko itself, which flows through those trees all the way up until we get to the diversion here.
For decades, Matamata company J.Swap has quarried on the maunga, extracting metal for roading. The company owns the land.
So tell me about the nature of the relationship between Tangata Marae and J.Swap over the years.
Over the years, in the lifetime of our fathers, they had a good relationship with J.Swaps. But now our elders have passed away and left the mantle to us to take care of, and that relationship has broken down. And we've found it quite hard to work with swaps.
In fact, the iwi is in direct conflict with the company, which wants to expand the quarry. It declined to be interviewed for this story. Matamata company J.Swap has quarried here for 35 years. They've applied to quarry for another 35. But mana whenua say that given the cultural and spiritual significance of Weraiti, they question whether their maunga should continue to be scarred.
I felt real pukuriri. My stomach was churning. My heart was weeping. And yeah, my tears were running because of my relationship with the whenua and with our maunga, and knowing that she was being destroyed.
Access to Weraiti is restricted and largely controlled by the company. Rosemeri Douglas feels cut off from it. In 60 years, she's only stood on her maunga once.
I only went up to Weraiti last year when we had a matariki up there, and that was the first time I started to feel a part of her, a part of Weraiti.
What was that like?
It was amazing. It was really amazing. I felt that connection not only to my maunga, but also to the whenua, because it goes deeper than the maunga, it goes right down to the actual whenua for me. And that connection brought a real awakening of my wairua. And so that's what gets me. We've got no control over how our maunga's been treated. It makes me feel angry, it makes me feel sad, and it makes me want to go and do something about it. It makes me want to go and stand on that maunga and say no.
The whole range is part of our pepeha.
Her son, Te Ao Te Rangi, has taken up the fight to stop the quarrying and invited tangata whenua from 3 other marae in the area to join in.
So whānau, this is Weraiti. These are the quarry works. And this is why we're saying no. We don't want any more destruction of our maunga or our water anymore. The quarry intend to discharge storm water from the overburden site that's on the papakainga straight into a awa that flows through that ancient pā. So it'll diminish the mauri of the water, therefore diminish the mauri of the pā site itself. So these are just all culminating together as one big no. If we continue up, you can see Te Weraiti itself. Te Weraiti holds koiwi, or bones of our ancestors, within some of the caves that are within Te Weraiti itself.
Te Ao Te Rangi filmed the video to start the campaign against quarry expansion.
We'll be going to council to stop the quarrying of our sacred maunga, Te Weraiti.
It's not only mana whenua who oppose the expansion, so too does the conservation body, the QEII National Trust.
It's unfortunate that such an important piece of land is being utilised in that way, especially when there is such a great interest from other New Zealanders in the values of that land.
J.Swap has owned the land since 2009. The previous owner put the bush on either side of the quarry under covenant, so it would be protected. J.Swap is challenging that in court.
They believe that the covenants allow for quarry expansion, that is, the quarry can move into the covenant area, and we don't agree with that. Even though it's on private land, it is still a valuable asset to the region, and the previous landowner protected that area because of those values.
When the quarry gets bigger, they're going to go higher up to the top to our urupā, and being in a high-risk erosion area, if they get too close and we do have another big rain, there's a chance that the whole rocky outcrop could slip and we will lose our cultural identity.
Ngāti Hinerangi say they lost control of the land more than 150 years ago, when it was confiscated by the Crown after the Waikato Land Wars.
When our people returned back from that war, from helping out in Waikato, our people got back and thought it was a punishment for fighting against the Crown. And ever since then, it has just been handed on and on and on. And since the early 50s, we have not been consulted in any way, shape or form in regards to giving consent to allow them to continue to quarry our maunga for profit.
Weraiti in the Kaimai Ranges, the sacred maunga at the centre of a fight over its future. Also at the centre of the battle, the Mangapiko stream. It's being diverted by the company that quarries on the mountain. The stream's a source of water and spiritual well-being to Tangata Marae, but it was not even told about the diversion.
Consultation hasn't happened at a level that needs to happen for us as tangata whenua.
The quarry company J.Swap told the Waikato Regional Council it has no choice but to divert the Mangapiko after heavy rainfall early last year caused a slip.
That slip resulted in some sediment that was going to potentially get down through the stream and down, potentially affecting one of the marae downstream of the site.
A letter supporting the diversion was written by one iwi group. The Regional Council believed that was enough.
Yeah, we did accept that in good faith, that the right people had been spoken to.
But that group, the Ngāti Hinerangi Trust, did not have the right to speak on environmental issues. Tangata Marae does. Did the council then consult Tangata Marae?
No, you're right. That process happened a year ago, and it was only in May of this year that we were informed that that Ngāti Hinerangi Trust didn't have that mandate.
So the majority of the iwi weren't told of the diversion. Neither was the QEII National Trust, which shares guardianship of land surrounding the quarry.
We're disappointed because we haven't, our opinion hasn't been valued, the work we do on the property hasn't been recognised. It's very hard for us to work with landowners who have set aside their land for the benefit of future generations, to promise them that we're going to look after it, and for other agencies to not have that same belief in what we do. It's very hard for us to carry out our role.
I've not heard the concerns raised by the QEII Trust, so I'm not sure what their concerns are about the diversion of the stream.
J.Swap intends to divert the Mangapiko headwater.
Te Rangi doubts whether the stream is being diverted for purely environmental reasons.
Is so that they can now quarry the waterway of the Mangapiko.
Some people believe that the Mangapiko was diverted to expand the quarry.
Yeah, I've heard that concern just recently. I think they're two separate matters.
It's not only the diversion of the Mangapiko that's at issue, it's also the health of the waterway. Te Rangi says the stream is so degraded, he no longer fishes in it.
The tuna that we are having for our hakari today, that comes from the Waiho. We do have the Mangapiko that's about 20 metres from our marae, but there's no tona to feed our manuhiri from our awa, so we have to travel downstream to the main artery or the main river, which is the Waiho River. The Mangapiko is very important to us. It is where we used to get watercress and tuna and koura. And over the years we've seen the degradation, and we no longer can feed ourselves from our awa. The quarry sits beside our awa. The continued increase in sediment and stormwater discharge goes directly into the Mangapiko. There are also chemicals that are used to separate the metal and the sediment. Those chemicals are crystal flock, which is a liquid type of plastic, and the second chemical is soluble aluminium, and that has been used in the quarry for many years now.
The Waikato Regional Council argues allowing the diversion will improve the water quality of the Mangapiko.
There's a range of conditions on those consents that require there to be fish passage, for example, which isn't there right now, that there's riparian planting along that new diversion. The consents, as granted, have quite a lot of protections to ensure that the future environment is better than what it is currently.
Today is a good day. Our water is quite clean, but we have terrible days here where it's full of silt. And when we have a tangi, we have to run our back tub for about 20 minutes, half an hour.
It's embarrassing, and it kind of takahias the mana of our marae, and to serve people who come to our marae paru water really saddens me.
The Regional Council says after recent complaints from the marae, it investigated water quality.
The initial feedback I've got from my staff is that the company is complying with its obligations, but we're absolutely still keen to hear if there are people with concerns about water quality to share them with us as soon as they can, because that gives us the opportunity to look into things to see what might be going on.
It's nearly 150 years since Ngāti Hinerangi had its land confiscated and lost its connection with Weraiti.
So ever since then, we have lived in the shadow of seeing our maunga be desecrated. We still feel the pain that our grandparents felt. We still feel the pain that their parents felt, and then their parents as well. From the loss and the hopelessness for being able to act and to stand up and to protect. We feel that that has been severed from us. Just like the top of Weraiti has been severed, so has our ability to be kaitiaki of our urupā and of our awa, because it's not our land. We are just from it.
The future of the maunga is in the balance. J.Swap is going to court to argue for the right to expand the quarry into areas that are protected under QEII National Trust covenants.
If we lose, if the applicant succeeds, then the covenant areas will not be protected in the way that we intended, because this is part of our natural heritage, and once it's quarried, that's the end of it.
The council will also hold a hearing on whether the quarry should be expanded.
What would you like to see happen?
The mining stopped, the desecration of our whenua, and the pollution of our awa.
All we're after is aroha. It's all we're asking for. We're not asking for much. Just aroha to support the tangata whenua when we go into a court hearing. And hopefully that'll sway the council's decision whether this corporation can continue to diminish our sacred places and our water, or they might decide to actually grant it to J.Swaps, which will be terrible. It'll be terrible, not just for us, but for everybody.